Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Day 5 of the BJ Destruction League Season 2, brought to you by afreecaTV and Alpha X. My name is Rushy. I'm so glad to be joining you today once again for our final day of regular play here in the BJ Destruction League on afreecaTV. We've had quite an interesting set of circumstances put us into this day number 5, as all of our different teams have spent a lot of time fighting over the week and positioning themselves for our playoff bracket coming up in just a short 24 hours. But we do have one more day of placements, as we do have 4 teams that are still looking to secure their spot in our playoff bracket for this main event starting tomorrow. Now, we've got more information coming up later on in the stream regarding all the different pieces of the playoff format. But first, we're going to talk to you today about our main event just happening as an end result of the remainder of our series here. Of course, each day we play, players are playing for a small amount of money. If they can receive all kills or become the MVPs for their team, they do earn a little bit extra. We already have our first seed taken care of. A Big Brother Cure securing the reverse sweep yesterday to lock in their number 1 placement atop the bracket. And they actually don't play today at all, so it'll be our final 4 teams looking to secure their spots. 3 Zerg looking to secure that second place position, and Beef Rice Stew all the way down at the bottom, hoping they can sneak in the 4th spot, but it's going to come off of the heels of a very, very difficult victory. Why are you here in Team SSB looking to reposition themselves on the bracket to get the best seed possible? Of course, we now have 2 different players securing all kills into this series, and it's going to be Solar from Big Brother Cure. Making it happen twice, does it on day 1 and secures it yesterday on day 4 to lock in the number 1 seed in the tournament. So we do have a lot of different pieces put together here. Do have to kind of feel a little rough for our player Patience, sitting number 2 at the top, securing 5 kills. He has a 75% win rate. This team is 0-3, which is a bit of a rough story, but all of these players putting together very good statistics, playing great games. So here is our setup for today. We have Team Why Are You Here versus SSB, a battle of 3rd and 4th place. This is very important because this sets up a potential loss for match number 2, in the sense that Beef Rice Stew looking for their first win. If they can play well and beat 3 Zerg, they will advance into the bracket. So SSB and Why Are You Here need to be careful. They do need to play their best, so that way they can secure their spot in this tournament. Of course, match number 2 will be ZVPs every single match. So that will be an interesting mirror matchup, if you will. So our match 1 between Why Are You Here and SSB, Sue, Stats, and SOS carrying some good accolades in this series. Both teams not really underperforming, but not showing the same kind of zip and style that they normally do that you will probably see from all 6 of these players when they play individually in the GSL. So we're hoping to see some excellent games from them today. Of course, Zest, Sats, and Special, Sue, SOS, and Bunny are the total amounts of players on both teams. So we are, like I said, looking for a little bit of that zip coming out of these 6 players. I think all of these players are top tier, high quality content creators and professional players in the StarCraft scene. So we are looking for some good matchups in that sense. So we're going to be going to Death Aura for map number 1. It's our universal first map here in this pool. And it looks like Caster Park says we're ready. So we are going to jump on in and find out our first 2 contestants. Spawning in the top left of Team Why Are You Here? It is going to be Special. And spawning in the bottom right, it's going to be a mirror matchup for Team SSB. Give it up for Bunny. All right, we've been looking for all the matchup formats here in the BJ Destruction League. We've had a lot of PvP. We've had a couple ZVZs. We've had a lot of Z versus everything, but I don't think we've had a TVT yet in this series. So very excited. Oh, very excited to see this TVT happen. Special lamenting the power of Zerg, it seems. Bunny has secured one win. I think he was the absolute, like, right out of the gate, the very first win in this team series. But Special, looking for his first victory, trying to see if he can claim a little extra won as a part of the prize money for this tournament. We're so excited to have afreecaTV sponsoring this event and providing some more great StarCraft 2 content, not only for our viewers, but for the players as well. 2020 is shaping up to be a bit of an interesting year, and I think from the community side of StarCraft 2, there's definitely a lot going on, a lot of moving and shaking in terms of online tournaments, in terms of show matches, a lot of teams bringing forward great effort. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say that Alpha X bringing forward some great content, especially in their Alpha Pro series. In fact, I believe that's casted right here on this channel. Oh. You may have heard my voice once or twice before on this stream, but Alpha X trying to provide some more great content for the players to participate in. And what I think is really good is that we're seeing lots of unique content in the scene. So definitely a good time for StarCraft. We do want to thank all of the stakeholders for investing in the program and making sure that we have more great content. Oh. Coffee just hits a little different at 5 in the morning. It's just a little sweeter. All right, both players opening up a bit of a mirror match right now. We are seeing a 1-1-1 opening here for both players. Two Hellions coming out on both sides. We'll be getting ourselves ready to go in position. Death Aura is kind of an interesting map. Doesn't have a whole lot of space. It definitely has a couple of high grounds and low grounds where tanks could get positional, and we could see an interesting scenario with all of the different tactics that Terran can use in a TVT. But honestly, the acceleration zones in the center do kind of cut some of the land mass out of the middle, so we might see some interesting positioning inside of those acceleration fields. I think it'll be interesting to see how this game transforms here on map number 1 on Death Aura. We do see our first deviation in our build orders. Looks like Special going for that Raven, and Bunny going for that Liberator. But otherwise, I mean, they are dead even. 6 Hellions apiece, 1 Reaper. That is going to be the first deviation. It looks like Bunny is going to grab a Liberator of his own. All right, here comes that first set of positioning here. Oh, Special just jumps on top of Bunny. Oh, and he PMs him. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Well, this is a bit of a rough position here if you are Bunny. Getting some good positioning. It does look like he is able to clean up these Hellions, but it does come at the cost of 4 workers, which is a bit of a rough scenario here. But Bunny going to get on top of the natural of Special, picking off 5 workers of his own. Bunny, I would not be surprised to see Bunny fire one back, but you know, it's okay. It's okay. So Special is posted and ready to go on opposite side of the map, ready to pounce with that Raven and take care of business. Oh, there it is. Special and Bunny are obviously 2 friends, very, very lighthearted. Of course, both Terran players, they can make that make their jokes and give themselves little bit of a bad time, and I think that's the sign of two good competitors that practice often together. Bunny is going to queue up another Liberator here on the bottom side of the map to pick off more workers. Special going to walk out to his third base. He is getting that production in his main. And Bunny going to pick up a Raven of his own. In fact, Bunny's third base is actually just finishing up here, so he is going to have that orbital command on site. Still a little bit faster than his opponent. Did come at the cost of worker count, 45 workers for Special to 42 of Bunny. Bunny should be able to close that gap here, though. Now, Special is going to move out onto the map here. Oh, my gosh. What year is it? Is it 2017 and Mass Raven's a thing again? What am I looking at? Special going to move across the map and try to siege up on the bottom right side. So the barracks trying to scout in the dead space for the Raven, but here comes 3 of them, and this is going to be a completely cleared mineral line. Actually being very patient with that Raven energy, not going to overcommit, trying to wait the appropriate moments to drop those auto turrets. He will be able to pick up 1 tank, and the Marines and tanks will be able to shove the orbital back into the main base. So Special able to siege up here outside of the natural of Bunny. And he does have a natural advantage here. He's got more Marines. He's got 1 more Raven. The tank count is the same, but actually not quite the same. I think it looks like Special's got 2 here. It looks like a 3rd tank is rolling in just now. So we'll now have, yeah, there's that 3rd tank. We'll now have a better position on those tanks. And Special going to try and leap forward here. He does want to claim the choke here at the top of that ramp, so he's going to try and position, and I think he is going to be able to get that. Those tanks should be able to reach all the way to that ramp, and that will make the positioning that much more difficult for Bunny, as he is going to be zoned out of his own main. Yeah, Bunny is going to make Special pay for it, though, on the opposite side of the map. And here comes a big engagement here. Some good disruption matrices going to jump down on those tanks, and all the tanks do get cleaned off. And Bunny walks away with all 5 of his tanks. Yeah, that's a great engagement. I mean, also behind that, he picks up a fair amount of workers as well. Special is still going to maintain that worker lead, though. He does pick up 60 workers, re-evens out the army count. And we keep on looking at that tank count, that tank number, so important. 7 tanks of Bunny. Bunny didn't lose a single tank in that engagement, which is a very, very good position if you want to try and secure that 3rd base, and that's absolutely what's going to happen here. The Ravens are still a threat, though, as they do have those auto turrets that can get on top of the tanks, shut them down. But it does look like Special is going to head back home for a brief amount of time. These Vikings are going to fight to the death, and this is going to be Bunny's Viking that does win out. So what's the transition here? Special does have stim packs, so he does have a bio option if he wants to go into it. But I mean this is Terran versus Terran, right? It's pretty much a mech fiesta the whole time. So we'll have to see if that comes in as a possible tech switch. Special rather late on most of these polls here on these workers. It seems like he always is losing 2 or 3 of his workers to Bunny's Liberators, and we'll be able to clean off that engagement. But here comes some Hellions on the bottom side of the map. What's actually built out on the map? It looks like a supply depot at the 9 o'clock position. I think that's what it was. So just a spot for run-bys, and it is going to pick up the Hellions in this case. I would have loved to have seen what that building was. Bummer. Yeah, I think the 0.2 second glimpse of it that I had, I think it was a supply depot. So nothing of major consequence. Special is going to try and post up here for another push in to the 3rd base. And it is going to get secured here. A good disruption matrix going to shut down not only one, but two of those tanks. And this is going to be a good position here. Special jumps ahead in that supply count, 158 to 123. Vikings trying to engage on top of each other. Bunny's Vikings aren't entirely grouped, so there will be that brief moment where he doesn't get good engagements. It's going to cost him 15 workers as a part of this. But I really like Special's addition of the bio to help spot for these tanks and spot for the Ravens. Because that'll just prevent those Vikings from flying right over top of the tanks and plopping down and just tearing them apart. But Bunny will be able to hold. Again, it does cost him a lot of workers. 16 workers lost all in all. And if you're Special, you have to be feeling really good, especially as he queues up. Oh, yeah, there's the partially built. The partially built supply depot. Especially as he is coming across the map with his second bio tank push. Two more disruption matrices going to shut down these tanks and provide a little extra cover for Special. But this is the engagement that he needs to be careful with. It's going to be this fourth base under fire. Big stim forward going to grab out of the buildings, and he's going to give up on it early. Very, very interesting here. Bunny able to rotate and save that fourth base, so that is a good spot. I think if Bunny loses that fourth base, I think Special easily secures his win in game number 1 here. But because of that, Special going to have to move out to his fifth base. Fourth base already set and secured. And there's going to be a fusion core back behind this. So we will see potentially Liberator range. More than likely, we will see some battle cruisers. But here come the tanks of Bunny. Now, do not be deceived by the big supply count here. 188 to 155, and you'd say, oh my gosh, Rushy, Special's got this in the bag. But look at those army counts, 101 to 100. They're almost dead even. And Special has a lot of this army supply in bio, and you can see exactly how that goes down. Immediately showing a more realistic number, 89 to 70. Special trying his hardest to get this, but he's only got 2 tanks. I don't even know where those tanks are. I mean, this is a terrible situation for Special. Special is still in a good spot. Ooh, he is going to pick off that +1 vehicle armor. That's a great start. He's doing everything he can to save that orbital command, but that orbital command is going to go down. He's going to use that bio to its full advantage, and he's just going to run across the map and try not to engage the tanks directly. Still only 1 tank available for Special. Special will be able to get the third base here. That's a pretty nice pickup, but he's got to get more if he wants to stay in this. Yeah, Bunny's got a great siege outside of his main. Again, 170 to 138. This looks like Special should be able to hold this down, but Bunny is already on top of Special's production here. He is in a bit of a rough situation. He won't be able to hold this down forever, so he needs to find a way to get on top of this. But 2 tanks run to the high ground and provide extra coverage and extra vision, and this becomes more and more dangerous. 5 barracks going down in the fourth base, and Special is going to grab his 6th base all the way at the 9 o'clock position of the map. And this is a bit of an awkward one. Okay, so Bunny did scan, and he does see the production of those buildings, and he knows that it's going to be more and more bio, which the bio will be effective because those tanks are rather slow, and Special would be able to position himself accordingly across the map. But once again, I mean, eventually he's got to come up with a way to shut these down. There are Vikings, so Banshees are not going to be a good option right out of the gate unless he can get on top of the Vikings and shut down the anti-air. But, I mean, that's going to be a tall order at this point. Behind this, Bunny is just cranking out Hellbats, trying to get more of those anti-bio units. And it looks like Special wants to try and engage on top of these tanks, but I just don't know how he is going to do that. These tanks are in such a nice spread. They're in a good position, and he is just going to run on in. He's trying to attack from every single angle. He is going to get the right side and get that cleaned up, which is pretty good damage, but that still doesn't deal with the 2 tanks in the main. And he does not have a stim to get on top of this, so he's close. And he at least frees up the natural, but look at all of this behind, and suddenly we see Bunny jump out to a surprising supply lead here, 140 to 128. But look at those army counts, 90 to 42, a complete flip-flop. And again, this bio is more mobile, but it's just not going to have the sturdiness to deal with this incoming mech push here. It's going to be lots of tanks, and he can't afford to throw away more units like he did. If you do that once to clean up the army in the main, okay, that's effective. You need to do it. It's a necessary evil because you need to get those tanks out of your face. But having that second push available for Bunny makes this a very difficult tall order, and it's going to come off the heels of 46 worker kills. I mean, that is absolutely devastating damage. But if you look at special, I mean, that just brings him even with Bunny. Bunny was trying to take his retake his fourth base back, but special scans it, and Bunny's like, oh, I don't think I want to subject that to your bio that's moving across the map. So that does get shut down. Special can micro his soul out, but unfortunately not going to be enough. GG is called, and Bunny winning game number 1 in this series. So good play by both players. Some very, very interesting tactics here. I did find that interesting. I was wondering how things were going to pan out with the tank positioning on that map. Again, the center is just so consumed by those acceleration zones that it makes it interesting to see how that would engage. But I think we got a great game out of it. So our TVT is off the table. Bunny's going to win game number 1. We're going to have to see who Team Why Are You Here sends out next to face Bunny. I mean, this is a very, very important series. The loser of this series is in danger of walking away empty-handed. If we take a look at the wins and losses. So I am interpreting the playoff bracket just a little bit. So I will admit that it might not be entirely accurate. But if we have a match tie, which is entirely possible, if Beef Rice Stew can win over 3 Zerg today, they will match win-loss ratio against the loser of our match right now. Then it's going to come down to individual games. And right now, Team Why Are You Here would have a natural disadvantage to that. They do need to at least secure 1 win if they want to advance forward, or at least to have a chance at winning against a tiebreaker. But, I mean, it's going to be a tall order here. Bunny looks like he's playing very, very well in this series. And it does kind of set us up in an interesting position. I think Team SSB, if all goes according to plan, I think they should be fine, but they do have a bit of an advantage over Beef Rice Stew in case of a tiebreaker situation. But of course, if Beef Rice Stew loses out here, they are still searching for their first team win, and they're going to have to do it off of the back of a team in 3 Zerg, which is sitting 2-1 right now in second place on our bracket. So that is a bit of a tall order to try and come up with. Then all of our top 4 teams who have secured wins already will be moving on and advancing. So we are going to have to see what all shakes out here in this series. But we are going to go into map number 2, and we are going to see our Protoss player. Bunny spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream. Everdream. Apparently, if I say ever more than once, it makes it more epic. But down in the bottom left, our blue Protoss player playing his stats. Also, good morning to everybody. I'm so glad all of you are joining. We've had some very good viewership for the BJ Destruction League, and I'm so thrilled to be able to cast this for all of you. If you have a chat channel, if you've got a Discord that you want to share this information, let your friends know, let your clan know that we've got this awesome team league running right now, right here on play.afreecaTV.com/alphaxsc2. Let's share this far and wide here. These are some outstanding games played by some of the best players in the StarCraft 2 scene. We're so thrilled to be able to cast this in English, so I do want to thank afreecaTV for partnering with AlphaX, and obviously I want to thank AlphaX, especially our admin Sushi, for giving me an opportunity to bring these games to you. I hope that I am doing a good enough job to warrant being assigned to this role. I'm having a lot of fun, and these are some outstanding games that I'm very honored to be a part of. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are enjoying all of these casts. All right, so stats. Gonna queue up a TVP here against Bunny. Ooh, he is actually gonna get dangerously low with that probe. Some very nice micro by Bunny to shut down the annoyance of that opening probe. He does shove off, and he's able to get his base down on the low ground. So this does look like Stats is expecting Bunny to get at least a little aggressive with his opening units here. Is already dropping a shield battery into the main mineral line, just to protect against that initial aggression. But Bunny dropping an SCV out onto the map. What are we going to see drop down here? Looks like it's probably going to be a proxy starport. I mean, that seems to be the right proximity. Yeah, that's absolutely what it's going to be. So we are probably going to see a proxy Banshee or a proxy Liberator coming up in this scenario here. Adept going to get a quick scan of the main and the natural, and try and get on top of the scouting information here. He is going to see the factory, doesn't get much else, sees that there are a few SCVs starting to populate the natural expand. He's got his Twilight Council down behind this and a robotics facility on the way. So I'm certain that we'll see a little bit of a tech switch in just a moment, but I am trying to watch the production tab here to see what's going to be coming out of this proxy starport, and it looks like it's going to be a medevac. Okay, so this is going to be a Hellion drop here into the main base, and that could be very, very strong here. Those Hellions going to be very effective against just the one shield battery defense back at home. Shield batteries are good. Battery overcharge is great, but if you're roasting 7 probes at once, I mean, your shield battery is only going to be able to save one at a time. So this is a natural way for Bunny to get some major aggression on right away. And this is going to go rather unscouted here. Stats not able to get up into the main base. And I think he is going to hit... Oh, my gosh. He almost hit a window where those pylons were warping in, and he wasn't going to get full vision of them. But this is going to time out just fine for Bunny. He is going to be able to get in here. 2 of those immediately falling right away. Some very good micro by Stats to get on top of all of those Hellions. And only losing 3 workers. He's going to maybe take a couple more down. 5 workers going down. You know, that could have been a lot worse for Stats. I think all in all, that is an okay hold. He does not get to pick up the medevac. He does kill off 2 of the Hellions though. So, I mean, it's a trade. I don't know if I'd call it the best trade in the world for Stats, but I don't think Stats is walking away from that feeling too defeated. So behind this, Blink Stalkers will be incoming. That poor medevac is now kind of stuck out on a moor. Is surrounded by Stalkers, so more than likely that will get picked off as soon as it tries to move out of the way. Observer getting out of the way just in the nick of time so it can continue to scout, dodging the scan. Looks like Stim Pack and +1 infantry on the way for Bunny. And Bunny needs to try and get out on the map and be a little bit more observant here. Stats moving out to his 3rd base, and while Bunny does have the medevac off in the side, I don't know that it necessarily knows about the existence of the 3rd base. But Stat's going to start to position himself in a little bit more of an aggressive stance, starting to throw down those extra gateways. Gonna toss down that Templar Archives. 4 more gateways on the way, so this is gonna be 8 gate pressure. Stat's getting ready to wind up and hit his Terran opponent with the power of Protoss. As Charge is also underway, and Psystorm, so getting into a good position to deal with that bio. Oh, feedback. Never gave it a chance. I think at that point, Bunny had just like written that medevac off. It's just like, well, you just don't exist anymore. It's not that big a deal. Like, whatever. You have failed me. You only killed 5 probes. Get out of my game. Get out of here. GG. GG, medevac. GG. So now this is going to be a push for Stats. Stats is going to scout this with his forward stalkers and immediately drops a chrono onto that Psystorm. He knows that he needs that Psystorm really, really fast, but this is going to be a valuable opportunity for him to get some warp-ins down. All of his gateways are completed, but he just doesn't have a whole lot of a mineral bank behind this, so he will be getting more and more Zealots. Those Zealots do have charge, so that will help positionally. But, I mean, this is a scary army here. Tanks are getting a good spread, and this is a little bit of a dangerous situation. Stats does need to engage on top of this, though. Good storm down on a chunk of the bio army. Is going to zone out all of the bio, and this is a great engagement for Stats. What was a bit of a precarious moment for Stats turned into a very quick swing as Bunny's supply drops and some big blink forwards pick off those medevacs full of units, 127 to 83, absolutely just crushing that hold as Stats. And Stats looking to try and secure a win here in game number 2 as he comes across the map with his own push now. And this is all of those gateways coming in strong here. Oh my gosh, look at all these Zealots. I mean, these warp-ins are absolutely massive. So this is going to be a dead base. That's not going to fly out into the airspace in time, and that will get picked off. So that kind of puts Bunny in a bit of a bind here, as he is going to have to try and beat this army. And right now, I mean, he just doesn't have a whole lot of meat to his army. 82 army supply to 53, and Bunny is now down economically. He does have Widow Mines, and Widow Mines are going to be good at holding down the position, but they're not as effective out on the map trying to be positional. So it is going to be Ghosts as a transition here for Bunny, and he's going to try and do a Ghost composition army off of 2 base, which is not very effective. I mean, he's kind of, I mean, his hand's forced at this point. He doesn't have much of a choice. He needs to find something to bring down those Archon armor counts, just to make the weakness of that army more expansive. If he can get some good EMPs, those mines will do a ton of work against the hit points of that mostly mechanical army. But it's going to require some delicate micro. And Stats is going to see this move out here. He knows that Bunny's in a bind. He knows that this is kind of a desperation push for Bunny. So all Stats needs to do is position himself, get himself in a good position where he can hold this down. The mines are going to get good splits, but those Zealots are going to be able to get on top of this before even half of them can get down. An amazing storm coats most of the army of Bunny, and Stats just shuts it down. GG is called, and we have got ourselves a series here, folks. Stats evening this up 1-1, and hopefully taking a little bit of pressure off of Team Why Are You Here. Is on the brink of potentially slipping into that last place slot in our bracket. So I know that they are looking for those wins. They want to secure as much as possible. If you are Team Why Are You Here, you want to see this go all 5 games. Either you win out here and you take a 3-1 victory, which would be probably the most ideal situation for them. But if you can't win, you need to at least take it all 5 games, because then that puts Beef Rice Stew in a bit of a conundrum where They absolutely have to win. They don't even have a choice. They have to 3-0 their opponents. And that's a tall order in the case of 3 Zergs that are playing very, very strong. I mean, Ragnarok, a very strong GSL Zerg. Dongray Gu has been around forever and still showcasing his ability here even in 2020. And Rogue, the IEM Katowice champion, BlizzCon champion. I mean, this very, very strong matchup. So this is a super, super important series here for Why Are You Here? They want to stay in this series. Of course, SSB also fighting this out as well. We're going to get to see who is going to be going up next against Stats. It could be another PvP. We might see SOS come out, but in fact, actually, I think that's what it's going to be. That's going to be my guess, is that we're going to see SOS come out in a PvP. Sue has been doing a nice job of anchoring down this team, but we will have to wait and see here in just a moment where that is going to head. So, looks like we are going to be getting set up and into our next series here in just a moment. Keep in mind, folks, GSL Season 2 starting on this Friday. Make sure to check out Liquipedia if you want more information about the setups for our matches. It seems like we are going to have an outstanding Season 2 here in GSL. 3 brand new players that have never been in Code S before will be joining the ranks in this Season 2. Of course, 2 of them coming from Alpha X. We're so excited for both Zaun and Estrella. 2 outstanding Protoss players will be playing in their first Code S. So hopefully you will get an opportunity to cheer for them. And we are going to be jumping into map number 3 here. It looks like we are going to be on Submarine, and the caster calls it. Stats in the top left-hand corner of Submarine, and it's going to be SOS in the bottom right. So we're going to get more PvP. If you were overwhelmed by PvP action in the last couple of days, well, you just get more. And I think this should be a rather interesting PvP, not only because of the map choice, but because of the 2 players. Stats and SOS, both, I would say pretty creative players in the StarCraft 2 scene, giving lots of interesting games to play. And I think it's going to, push these players in ways that they might not realize they can be pushed, and I think that's a good thing. Of course, these 2 players, no strangers to each other, having played a lot together in different GSL format events, finding each other on many brackets. We are going to have to see what these 2 players want to do. And already, Stats moving out onto the map to drop that proxy. We're going to have to see what that proxy is going to end up being. I mean, 2 gateway already down for both players. I don't know if we're going to see a 3rd gateway. That's not uncommon, because then you can just get extra stalkers on top of your opponent, and then you just show up at their base. Oops, I have 3 more stalkers than you. GG! But since he is waiting for that cybernetics core, I was expecting it to be a proxy robo, and that is exactly what it's going to be. So, 2 adepts coming out right now for SOS. SOS does have a probe in the main base. And I was going to say he had an opportunity to see that the stalker production was just staggered a little bit, only 1 producing, which would give SOS the indication that he's using his resources elsewhere. And he does go out for a little bit of a wander here, getting very, very close to this proxy. Stats needs to be very careful he doesn't accidentally lead his opponent to the proxy location. Those probes out searching everywhere. He's gotta find it. But I don't know if he is. I can't see the path of this probe. Oh, yep, okay, so that is going to zip up to the high ground. He is going to locate that proxy, so it is going to be an Immortal on the way. SOS should be able to deal with this. Yeah, he's going to make 1 Phoenix, and that Phoenix will mitigate a lot of the damage that could come out from this proxy Immortal. Oh, okay, he actually changed it up, swapping out for an Oracle. I actually kind of expected that to be a proxy Phoenix. I mean, you can just lift the Immortal. You just lift the Immortal and fire at it with Stalkers. Huh. All right, so looking to be a little bit more aggressive with the Oracle here. Stats gonna get on top of the Adepts returning back from Stats' side of the base. Does pick one of them off, so I think every single unit he can eliminate is a good one. Yeah, and I mean, I'm a little puzzled here. I thought the Phoenix would be a good call because not only would it be able to lift Immortals, but it would be able to deal with the Warp Prism. But no. Instead committing into that Oracle. Oracle going to be hitting the map here in just a moment. More than likely we'll see a Phoenix come out. I mean, it makes logical sense. Maybe not. What do I know? I'm a Zerg player. So there's going to be 2 Oracles moving across the map. Stats is going to take a peek here at SOS and see that, hey, there's a couple things missing here for you back at home. A big shade forward here. Adept's going to try and leap on top, but not going to happen here. The Adepts are going to be able to, or excuse me, the Oracles are going to be able to one-tap all of these workers. 6 workers going down before the Stalker warp-in is allowed to happen. Some very good force field zoning out the army here. And Stats going to continue to get more and more damage done. I was going to say, what's giving him high ground vision? He's got that Observer. I knew that. I knew that a long time ago. So this pylon is not going to power, or not going to depower anything when it does. Oh, it does depower. Depowers the Cybernetics core. Of all the things to depower, that's not too bad in this case. But Stats is able to anchor this position down, not allowing his opponent to really get out. So he's got that Warp Prism there still warping in more units. And that takes out the second Warp Gate here. He's going to have to remake those. Does he have any Warp Gate at this point? I know he's building one. But I can't see back into the base if he's got a second one there or not. It doesn't look like he does. Looks like he just has a robotics facility at this point. And a Stargate. Stargate's Stats is going to go down as well. Trying to deny this move to the low ground as long as possible. 2 Mortals will help with that fight, being able to anchor that down just a little bit more as the gateway units have been all but stalled here for Stats. Or SOS. Brain. 543. Get going, Brain. All right, SOS going to try and get a tag on that main base. Both players not moving into a second base just yet. Stats is in position to do so. He's got the pylon down on the low ground, which, I mean, could have been taken down if SOS wanted to commit all the energy into that pylon, but I don't think it's a good investment. Phoenix going to be incoming here. I was going to say, Stats got to take a look at his army here. SOS trying to blink on top of the army with his Adept Shade, but does pick up some of those valuable units into his Warp Prism right away, eliminating the fear there of losing some of those valuable units. But once again, we're just seeing a posture here at that low ramp. SOS finally has enough army here. He's going to be able to push off his opponent, and we are probably going to see both players move down to their second Nexi. And that will kind of move us into a bit of a more macro-focused game here. All right, so the Phoenix count is continuing to grow here for Stats. And Stats swinging down to the left-hand side of the map. I think he's just checking for proxies. Taking the long way home. You know, it's Wednesday. Wednesday is go for a scenic walk through submarine day. And he just wanted to check out the new map. I'm just imagining like he's zooming in on the map. Like, wow, look how beautiful. Oh, wow. Wow. The Phoenix battle has begun, but Stats' Phoenix are going to be like, wait, what? You didn't actually exist. So now the Phoenix of Stats are going to come in here. I mean, this is going to be potentially really, really strong damage. There is a Stasis Ward Stats needs to be very careful he doesn't accidentally grab all of his units, but does send one stalker forward to deal with that, and that does get taken care of, so that most of that damage is mitigated. Oracles do go down. SOS has an overwhelming Phoenix count, but he doesn't have much on the ground, and what he does have on the ground is slowly dying. Good warp-ins of extra stalkers help make that a little bit better. The Immortal able to zone everything out, and Stats controls the ground. Those Phoenix are good, but they can only do so much against that stalker-heavy army. 2 Immortals are all that remain on the ground here for SOS, and he's in a bit of a bind here. Bigger warp-ins happening here. 3 more stalkers coming for Stats, and this is getting to be a bad situation here. And Stats, I think, is just going to be able to jump on top of this. If he loses that Nexus, SOS is going to be in big trouble. There's just nothing he can do. This is just an overwhelming force here. The Warp Prism is going to be pressured once again, but even still able to just warp in on top of all of this. GG is called. And Stats going to be able to shut this down and win map number 3. Oh no. Oh no. I heard the sound. Are we still live? I guess we are. It appears so. Ooh, I got nervous because I heard the noise that my computer makes when it says OBS has crashed. And I was going to go, no. So, must have been from GSL's production end. Good to know that they're using Windows. But we are on match a point here for this series. Stats kind of anchoring this down here as we get in position, knocking out SOS. So all that's left for SSB is Sue. And Sue is going to try and anchor this down. He does need to win 2 in a row if he wants to secure his team spot in the bracket. SSB, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're kind of in the same boat as Why Are You Here? I mean, the team that loses out of this match does put themselves at risk of elimination here in the regular play bracket. But it's kind of hard to tell. They do have a slight advantage over Beef Rice Stew in terms of win-loss. I do think they need to win 1 more if they want to be extra sure. It's going to force Beef Rice Stew into pretty much having to win out to make sure that they secure. But Sue's no slouch. He's able to play very confidently and strong, putting up lots of different builds and playing rather aggressively. And against a player like Stats, we could have ourselves a fiery game number 4 here. 2 aggressive players playing against each other. That could be very, very interesting to watch. So I think regardless of the winner of the game, I think ultimately the winner will be us, the viewer. Thank you so much to everybody for hanging out. 166 of you. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining us. You guys are watching the day 5 of the afreecaTV BJ Destruction League right here on play.afreecatv.com/alphaxsc2. My name is Rushy. I'm so glad that you guys are able to join me today. We are on match point here for match 1 between SSB and Team Why Are You Here? It is going to be Stats versus Sue. It's going to be another ZVP as we get set up into game number 4 here. Can this blue Protoss do it? Can he clinch out a 3-1 victory for his team? Or will the Red Zerg player in Sue stand in his way and say, not today, and take this all the way to a game number 5? We're going to have to find out here on Golden Wall. Golden Wall, a very interesting map for ZVP. More than likely, probably will lean our Protoss player towards the direction of air. And that could be a very interesting playstyle for Sue. Sue, who does like to get a little bit more aggressive, likes to try and jump on some very strong timing attacks, but is also no stranger to putting together a long-form macro game. I would be interested to see if Sue is going to allow the game to get to the point that we see Carriers and Tempests and Void Rays coming out of our blue Protoss player. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this as we get into this series. All right, just taking a peek at a couple other things here while we get this game warmed up. There is a probe going across the map, and this is a little bit of a later probe. I don't think it's going to do anything more than just scout. We don't have a forge on the map. It is just a pretty standard, stereotypical ZVP opening for both players. We are getting positioned here to come in and scout. Is going to be an adept coming out to get a good little read on what's happening in this game. It is going to take those Zerglings to zone off the probe. Probe wants to see where Sue's going to take his third base. That gold base potential towards the center could be very valuable for Sue if he is interested in doing a bit of a Ling Flood, trying to get extra aggressive against his opponent. But it does look like he's just going to take the normal third base expansion up on the top side. But Stats is still going to want to scout this. He just needs to know where that went. If for some reason that does happen to be a gold base that goes down as for Sue's third, Stats is going to want to make sure that he responds to that appropriately. But he does see that there is no third base at the gold. So Stats can just continue to scout, do his normal affair here. Going to check drone count, going to check that gas count as well. Right now, going to find himself in a decent position to get wound up. And it is going to be an Oracle opening here. Again, I think on Golden Wall, with all of the space on the bottom side of the map, air units just make so much sense for Protoss, gives them so much mobility. That could look at moving Sue into Mutiling Bane. And Sue is notoriously not a fan of Mutiling Bane. I think Sue would rather play with a lot of other units. But Mutiling Bane ends up being a very strong composition on this particular map. And we've seen Sue do it before. We've seen him go for it. So we know that he's no stranger to it. We know that he is capable. We'll have to see if he decides to pull it out here in map number 4. If Sue wants to advance forward in this bracket and secure his team a spot in the playoffs tomorrow, he might have to pull it out. He might have to yield away from what he's most comfortable with to give himself the best chance at success. So we are going to find a little bit of light adept pressure here. 4 adepts coming across the map. No resonating glaives, so this is not an all-in. This is not a very scary position for Sue to play from. More than anything, I think Stats is just going to try and draw out more unit production to see if he can get his opponent on a slightly lower worker count. To aid in that, he's going to come in with 2 oracles and try and pick away at more workers. Just get a little bit of damage done. But Stats going to take his third base expansion right around the 5-minute mark, which is a pretty standard timing if you want to play a normal drawn-out macro game. Lings are going to dive up and confirm that. So that lair tech choice is going to be a good one for Sue. Pumping out more of those drones to saturate that third base. And Sue does jump out to a pretty sizable worker count, 62 to 48. And he is starting to bank a little bit of that gas, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a Spire go down, but it is going to be a Hydralisk then. All right, so we're going to get on in here, try and engage on that third base. There are no units other than those 2 Zealots here, and the Zealots should be able to get a full surround on them, and those Lings are going to get a lot of damage done. So on the back of this creep push here for Stats, Lings are going to get a little bit of damage, make that third base a little more exposed. It's going to force those probes to come out and at least re-secure the position. Baneling Nest on the way to accompany those Hydras, so it is going to be Hydraling Bane +1 melee attack as well. So the Hydra is not going to be the main chunk of this army. It is going to be Ling Bane that anchors down a big portion of this. And I think that's very interesting. Hydra Ling Bane has been of questionable strength here still in the current meta. Of course, a couple patches ago, Hydras did get a little bit of a nerf, and the Hydra Ling Bane composition did kind of fall out of favor. But we do still see occasional Zergs pull it out and use it. It is still a rather strong composition, albeit a little flimsy. But now Banelings are done. Baneling speed on the way. Stats also going to take the 4th base up in the top right-hand corner. And that is going to kind of open this up into a lot of production here for Su. Su is banking just a little bit. He does have still a confident worker count lead. Continues expanding it as well, getting 76 workers over his opponent's 67. And one of those bases is a gold base, so I think Stats has recognized that this is there. He has scouted it, but does not seem to be in any big hurry to try and do anything about it. But he is probably going to wait for his Psionic Storm to finish up, which is currently on the way. And now I think a little bit of that aggression is going to start coming into play here. Using that airspace on the lower side of the map, going to take a Warp Prism and fly that directly into the main base of his opponent. Meanwhile, he is going to draw a little bit of attention here on the top side of the map, and Stats not committing all of his units, which is good. Saves a little bit of steam for the Warp Prism on the bottom side of the map, so Hydras will be able to deflect that away. And that's a pretty okay position right now. Oh, this is actually going to be difficult to deal with, though. The Adept's going to sit on the opposite side of the gold mineral line and can work away at the units there. It looks like there was a Spine Crawler that was going to be in the mineral line there that will help mitigate some of that damage. But here comes a big push here on the top side of the map. The 4th base getting dangerously low here. Oh, it was in fact a Spore Crawler in the gold mineral line. So not going to be able to zone off those Adepts. He will have to pull. He does save the workers, at least for now. Queen does go down in the main on top of this. An Infestation Pit now just finishing up. +2 melee on the way as well. That 4th base is very, very damaged. That will become a very easy target for Su coming down the pipe. So Stats will have to babysit that base just a little bit. Now, Ling Bane is going to be very effective against those Zealots. Great pickoff on the Warp Prism here. Those Banelings are going to be so crucial to help deal with the ground army. He wants to avoid rolling any of those Banelings into Archons. Archons can literally take, I think it's like 14 Banelings to kill. It's like a disgusting number. So if you've got a whole bunch of units all clumped up, okay, sure, you can make that work to some degree. But if you've got Banelings connecting with just an Archon all by itself, very, very inefficient. Not a useful engagement. And Su's going to have to be sure to babysit those Banelings because he needs Banelings to connect positively every single time. He also needs to dodge Psystorms as well, as Stats has a good chunk of army here in the center. Those Archons will do a fantastic job of zoning and creating more surface area for Su to take bad engagements on. So Su's going to want to be careful here. Doesn't want to engage too often off of creep. Those Banelings getting on top of Archons. Exactly what I'm talking about here. Look at how little damage those Banelings got done on that Archon. I mean, one Archon does get picked off, but gosh, the cost of so much army here for Su. So Su needs to be as cost effective as he can be here. Setting up a bit of a surround here on the high ground, waiting very patiently, not trying to over-engage on his opponent. Some good stasis wards on the top side here, trying to limit the amount of damage a full wraparound could do. And we are going to see a Greater Spire come down. Baneling's going to engage on top. Oh, the Zerglings on the top side do get caught, and so those all are going to get shut down here. There is a second stasis ward that Su has not yet engaged on top of. Although, nope, it looks like it did get picked off, so looks like it got spotted by the Overseer. These Lings are going to be allowed to back off, which is a good save for Sue. He doesn't lose a whole bunch of that army. So where the engagement did not succeed, he at least got to take the army back. More banelings getting warped in right now. There's so many Archons, again, to help with the surface area of protecting that army. 4 workers going down at Sue's 6th base and the 5 o'clock position. Oh, banelings kind of get caught out as well. Again, efficiency. Efficiency is the name of the game right now. I mean, Sue is essentially just looking for one good engagement. But Stats doing such a patient job of maneuvering on the map. Stats is going to be able to pick up this base in the 5 o'clock position, and that's going to put Sue in a bit of a bind. He's going to have to split up some of this army, but this is a lot of army supply on the top side of the map that he has to deal with, and he's got to deal with it now. So the 5th base under fire. Some very, very good force fields followed by those Psy Storms eating up a lot of those Zerglings. Sue trying to engage on top of this as best as he can, and Stats sending so many of those run-bys into the main and the 5th base. So behind all of this, it looks like Stats is picking up a mothership core, is going to try and transition into that air army that Protoss players absolutely love to get into, not only on this map, but just in general. And just being so efficient with this army. Another great Stasis Ward catches a good chunk of units here. And he's got to be careful. Oh, Sue's got to be careful. He's got so much army supply right now in Stasis traps, and he's going to have to try and zone this. I mean, Stats does not want to lose all of these banelings. He doesn't want to lose all of these Hydras, but there is not a great way for him to engage on top of this, especially when more Zerglings get caught in the trap. And he is going to get a full surround here. Baneling's going to try and crash on in. Those Archons getting so much splash damage absorbed here. The delicate units of Stats able to escape to the high ground behind this as well. Stats able to clean up 11 workers. These Zealot run-bys are relentless. And this is a big run-by as well. Zealots and 3 Archons. Oh, Sue is slowly falling in army supply, and Zerglings are not going to be able to cut this effectively. They will be able to shut it down, but it comes at the cost of so many workers and so much army. And now the mothership has arrived, and that will continue to make this already dangerous, difficult to engage army that much harder to engage into. And we are going to see that carrier switch. Two more Stargates on the way, as well as +2 air weapons. And if you're Sue, what is the right way to engage this? He is going to be able to get Zerglings into the natural, so this is a good start. But look at those warp-ins. Those Zealots are just going to tear through these Zerglings. Well, wait a minute. No, that actually went way more in Sue's favor than I thought it would. So this is actually a great counter here. But Stats is going to have one queued up of his own. These queens are going to fall. More damage is going to be done economically. It is a good pull on the units. Those Zerglings are actually going to pick off a Stargate, so that is actually a pretty good pickup. And he is going to see and confirm the existence of those carriers. And Sue is on a bit of a clock right now. He does only have Hydras as units that can engage against those carriers. And while Hydras are effective, he will need more than that if he wants to have a foothold in that series. But right now, just committing into more and more of that ground army, committing into that Hydraling Bane. This is going to be a nice wraparound here. A good time warp goes down to mitigate some of the speed of the bottom side of that engagement. And those Banelings are going to try and crash into anything they possibly can get their hands on here. Where are the High Templar? I think the High Templar have all been removed from the map. Oh no, there are 8. Where are they? Oh, they're up in the top right-hand corner. They're all going to go into Archons. So that will be damage mitigated here. Sue dropping in supply. He is going to be able to get on top of these bases, but he's not going to be able to deal a whole lot of damage. And behind that, Zealots are just going to continue to get more and more damage done, and it's just too much. GG is called, and Stats has secured his team a victory here in the 4th game. You can see the excitement on his face. He is happy to see that come in. And team, why are you here? will be securing their position in the bracket. With that team win, they have all but guaranteed their participation in the playoffs starting tomorrow. Team SSB now has to wait and see what the result of our third match is going to be between 3 Zerg and Beef Rice Stew. We know SSB is going to be cheering very loudly for the Zerg team as they are fighting for not only their second position on the bracket, but to prevent Beef Rice Stew from being able to sneak in here. So here is our 3-match result here. Stats getting the all kill here. I'm surprised we didn't get the all kill statistic there, but Stats doing a nice job here anchoring this down. It does end our streak of reverse sweeps here, so Sue not able to lock that into place. But that means we are going to move into our next match between 3 Zerg and Beef Rice Stew. And before we go to our break, do want to take an opportunity. Do want to take an opportunity to talk to you about one of our main sponsors for this event in Manscaped. Manscaped, one of our sponsors here in June, doing a great job of helping support Alpha X Esports and StarCraft 2 here in 2020. Manscaped provides a wide array of options and products for the man in your life. So if grooming, body wash, shampoo are your style, do check that out. Father's Day is just right around the corner here in North America, and that will be a great opportunity for you to connect with the man in your world. Use the code Matcherino at checkout if you would like to get 20% off your order. And we are so grateful for their support of Alpha X and StarCraft 2 Esports. Thank you so much for their contribution to our organization. And we're going to be taking a short break here. When we come back, we'll be up for match number 2 to finish out our bracket and our regular season play. You guys are watching the afreecaTV BJ Destruction League Season 2, Day 5. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Oh, they did it again. Hello. Hello and welcome back. I've been debated once again, chat. The afreecaTV production people making me go to their setup first. I should learn my lesson. We are getting set and ready to go for match number 2 here. It is going to be ZVPs. I hope you like ZVP. I like ZVP. I hope you like ZVP. It's going to be 3 Zerg versus Beef Rice Stew. Beef Rice Stew playing for their tournament life here. They do need to win this series if they would like to advance to the playoffs. 3 Zerg already secured, but just looking to stay in that second place position for their seed. Road Ragnarok and DRG versus Trap, Patience, and Creator. So a bit of a tough scenario for our Protoss team. They do need to win out, and they do need to win convincingly. They are still in a position where tiebreakers could still lean in the direction of Team SSB, and it does look like Team Why Are You Here already securing that 3rd place spot. So it is going to come down to this. They basically do need to win out if they want to advance forward. So we're going to see how this all shapes up here. We're going to jump onto Death Aura spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. Our blue Zerg player playing for the 3 Zerg. Give it up for Rogue. And spawning in the top left, our Protoss player, first Protoss player for Beef Rice Stew, it is Trap. Want to make sure that I've got my music all put together. I had just little snippets of my original recording going there, and had to make sure that we got that taken care of. So it's going to be Rogue versus Trap here in map number 1. That will make for a very interesting opening game of the series. So thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with me. I hope you are enjoying today's production here as we get set and into place. It's going to be a typical opening here for both players. Trap going to go for that gateway expand. We're going to go for that hatch gas pool opening. I think we're slowly building up a little bit of Zerg background music. Can kind of hear little tiny snippets of it. Ah, there we go. Now it's starting to build. So once again, our 3 Zerg players, have secured their position, so they don't need to worry too much about this series. But I know that SSB is hoping that they play their hearts out, as they do want to beat Beef Rice Stew. I think if Beef Rice Stew can secure this win, I believe that will put them into the playoffs starting tomorrow. So I'm taking a look at the point spread. And Beef Rice Stew, yeah, Beef Rice Stew would actually secure enough wins if they came out with the 3 victories. They would come out 9. At worst, they'd come out 9-11, and that would be better than their opponents in SSB. So SSB is kind of in the limbo right now. But Big Brother Cure and 3 Zerg already locking in those top 2 spots. Oh, and actually, I find that interesting. I was thinking that Why Are You Here would potentially have a potential scenario, but it does look like 3 Zerg with only 4 losses will be able to secure that opening spot. Okay, okay. So yeah, the worst they can do is 7-7, and that would be better than their opponents, Why Are You Here, with an 8-9 record. Okay, that makes sense. All right, Trap gonna open up with a Glaive Adept opening here in map number 1. Pretty common for PVZ right now. It's a strong timing. It's a good way to get your opponent off kilter. If your opponent does not defend against that well, can easily set them behind for the remainder of the game and give yourself a good possible position. Oh, it's going to be a Dark Shrine behind this as well. We saw this yesterday as well. Kind of that double whammy where you get your Zerg opponent to try and prepare for just one of the incoming pushes, and they just don't have the resources set aside for the second one. So we're going to have to see how Rogue responds to this. The first set of Adepts are here at the natural. They're going to leap on forward, see those queens, and they're just going to immediately run by. Just kidding. They're not going to complete those shades. They're going to get down into the third base and try and get more and more damage done. So far, this is rather mitigated here. These queens shoving all the Adepts into the bottom left-hand corner. Going to be forced to shade back out and away. Some Spore Crawlers are coming down. Not quite sure where they are. I assume they're all in mineral lines. So Rogue should be prepared for this inevitable switch. The Adepts are going to get clumped up on the ramp, and this is actually pretty good positioning here for Trap. He does get surrounded, but a lot of surface area eliminated because he's on the ramp. And it's going to be, oh, no. That Spore actually getting lifted up here in the last second. Actually, really great engagement here for Rogue, not allowing Trap to abuse that ramp. Gets right on top of it with roaches and is able to shut that back down. So Rogue, all in all, only losing 3 workers. Very, very good engagement here in map number 1. Now, does he have a Spore Crawler at the third base? He doesn't. He's going to have to pull. Oh, yeah, he does. It's right there. All right, so, yeah, good reactions here by Rogue. Rogue is floating a lot of minerals, but was dealing with a lot there. All in all, 6 workers going down. That's a pretty good defense, all things considered, for Rogue. Things going to get out across the map, see that third base going down, picking off a few of the workers that are there, dealing a little bit of damage. And the Archons are going to begin their harassment cycle. Behind all of this, we are going to see Immortal production for our Protoss player. Forge going down, as well as 4 more gateways. And Rogue's going to drop a couple of bases here. He's going to get his 4th base, but he's also going to pick up that macro hatch. He is still trying to work through a good chunk of his economy here, increase his spending power. And Trap's just going to get into that pretty stereotypical Protoss land army, getting those charge lots, getting those Immortals, getting those Archons. Archon's going to be very, very annoying here. Queens get some good transfuses down. You're going to fly up and away. And Baneling Nest going to come down for Rogue, and Rogue's just going to try and just invest in all sorts of good anti-ground army. Rogue is now going to spot this move out here by Trap. Trap going to set up for another engagement. A couple of Ravagers going to be hitting the field as well. There's not a lot of army here for Rogue. I mean, the supply count is in his favor, 58 to 48, but this is a rather anti-roach army that Trap has, so he is going to have to be careful here. He doesn't want to undercommit. Usually we talk about overcommitting in StarCraft, but here comes the engagement here. We are going to see those Archons charge forward and soak up a lot of that initial damage here. Immortal's going to be firing from behind the force fields as they reposition. Big warping of sentries and the zealots to continue adding more bulk to this army, but Rogue just jumps up in army supply, 168 to 122. He is going to continue trying to engage here. He might just have enough. He can just barrel on in as long as he takes a good engagement. It's a very good force field zone out a chunk of the roaches here, and Trap doing a very nice job of mitigating a lot of this damage. The Immortals are going to be able to pull forward here and fight into the choke as these force fields are allowed to expire. and more warpins will give Trap more sentries and more positional advantage. Drones start falling here. 12 drones are going to go down, and I think Trap's going to be able to push forward far enough to tap down that base, and he absolutely will. Rogue's going to get on top of the rest of this army here and try and engage it down. And this is going to be another big warp in by Trap. Trap not able to zone this back far enough, and he is going to lose that warp prism. And I think that's going to be it for Rogue. I think he's going to be able to hold this just fine, but it does come at the cost of one of his bases, so Trap will be able to try and go behind this if he wants to. But Rogue with a very, very convincing hold, and does hold down a nice worker count as well. So very, very good engagement by our Zerg player. And now it's going to be the Roach and Ravager moving across the map. Look at that army supply disparity, 78 to 39. An incredible army advantage here for Rogue, and Rogue's able to hold that choke, which is a very good spot. Well, that was interesting. The Spore Crawler in the third was taken down. It must have been removed by the Dark Templar, so Rogue's going to have to find a way to deal with that. It does look like he cleans that up. He does not have any vision with this army, so that one DT should be able to force Rogue back on this. But it looks like he's just going to engage. He's not going to worry about it. It's just one DT. What kind of damage could it possibly do? And I think Rogue just has enough army here. He can just kind of get on top of this. And the Overseer does arrive, so that will clean that up. All of the very expensive Immortals getting picked off here. 2 Immortals remain. It's only 5 Zealots. And that's the remainder of this army here for Trap as Lings come pouring across the map. He's going to be able to get on top of all of this. 2 more Immortals going down, and I think that is going to be it for Trap. Trap is going to have to tap out of this. He's lost 12 workers. He's lost a handful of buildings. Those warpins not hitting as hard as he would like to, and GG is finally going to be called, and Rogue wins game number 1. Very, very well played by our first player of 3 Zerg, showing why they are in second place in this bracket and looking to secure that out. Beef Rice Stew has just struggled to come up with the right answers against their different opponents. Definitely not off of bad play by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if we remember, Patience has won 5 games individually for this team. So it is possible they might be saving Patience for the end to give him his momentum after his opponents get tired out a little bit by his 2 teammates. But we'll have to see where this heads. So it's definitely not off of the back of poor performance. I think just the teams have been playing so well here in the BJ Destruction League that it's just a bit unfortunate that it is played out that way. But it is also important to remember that there are winners and there do have to be losers, and not everybody can walk away victorious in these engagements. So GG calls all the way around, and we are going to get set up for game number 2. A bit of a programming note, by the way, if you guys are really enjoying this high-level StarCraft 2 action, right here on this channel, after this event is completed, Alpha X will be hosting a show match that should be very, very fun and engaging as well. It will be Starkiller versus Psyarch, 2 foreigner players, very, very high up in the scene. So if you do enjoy that high-level StarCraft 2 action, do make sure to stick around. You will have a little bit more to enjoy right after this cast. But we're going to jump into game number 2. It's going to be on Everdream. Rogue in the bottom left-hand corner, and it is going to be Patience here in the top right. Oop, we are going to get a bit of a pause here. So just a moment as we get set up into place. But yeah, I will talk a little bit about that production that we have going on right after this. It is going to be Starkiller versus Psyarch, which will be taking place almost right away after this event. I think technically it does start in an hour. So if for some reason this production runs longer than an hour, that will it will just roll over. But if for some reason we are able to finish this up in the next 45 minutes or so, do consider sticking around. will be another Alpha X cast of 2 foreigners. It will be in English, so hopefully you will enjoy that. We definitely encourage you to check that out if you are interested. Alrighty, and we are going to get back in, so I will go ahead and bring this back up. And we are off and rolling once again. Thank you so much for your patience. No pun intended. Alrighty, so Rogue showing why he is the IEM Katowice champion. Oh, excuse me. I had to make sure to mute the mic. Big sneeze! I didn't think that you needed that big sneeze. All up in your business. So we are getting put into place here in map number 2. Now, Patience has shown the most... he has shown the most confidence here in this series so far. Again, securing 5 victories for his team. We'll have to see if Patience is able to close out Rogue and try and secure a 6th win. Again, if Beef Rice Stew, the team of Protoss players, can win in this series, they will move on to the playoffs. They just have to win 1. That's all they got to do. Oh, Rogue sneaking that hatchery down. Oh, I felt that from my head to my toes. What a rewarding feeling. All right, so Rogue going to be able to sneak that 3rd base down. And that will transition us into a rather normal game. We'll have to see what Patience has in store here. We've been seeing a lot of the Glaive Adept openings here, and it looks like that could potentially be where we head in game number 2, as that Twilight Council does go down for Patience. But the Zerg players have largely in part held that pretty well. Not having any major issues dealing with that timing. So if we do go into that Glaive Adept timing like it does look like we are, I mean, I don't see Rogue really struggling with this by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, he already did a really nice job of dealing with it in game number 1. More than likely, Rogue's going to get this scout off here very soon, and will be able to position himself and be ready here in game number 2. So Stalker is going to get on top of this Overlord and deny at least a little bit of the vision. We'll have to see how far forward that Overlord is able to get. I think it should be able to get far. Oh, no, it's not. Oh! Literally the last second, but all it saw was a gateway. So Rogue's got to have a feeling that something's up here. That Stalker rotating down. Rogue knows that Patience is looking to deny as much vision as he possibly can. And here comes the pivot. Okay, I like this from Patience. It's going to be 2 Stargates coming down. This is a nice transition point. So we're in game number 1. Trap goes for the fall behind Dark Shrine. Patience is going to opt into double Stargate. Now, it looks like Rogue's going to commit into a largely Roach-based army here, at least from the outset. So if for some reason Phoenix come out in force or Void Race, I mean, that's going to be a good position for Patience to play from. And it's going to be Phoenix right away, and that actually would mix pretty well with these Glaive Adepts. So Rogue should notice that the Glaive Adept count is rather low. I think also the other piece is he's got to be going, where is the Warp Prism? The Warp Prism is the key component towards staying aggressive with this push. And right now, with 11 Adepts, I mean, that's a good amount of units, but there's no forward pressure with this. So Rogue's got to be asking questions right now. Now, Patience is going to go for a little bit of a late third. Not necessarily a all-in situation here, but if you are Rogue, again, like the questions have to be flying through your head. What is actually happening here? So Lair about to finish up. He is going to drop down an extra spore. Ling's going to run on in and confirm the existence of that third base. But Patience has not been very aggressive with these adepts, just trying to provide some cover, a little bit of pressure, but largely just staying back and away, not overcommitting one way or the other. But here comes the actual pressure here. It's going to be large amounts of Phoenix, and that is going to get scouted. A good Zergling scout at the third base location is going to get Rogue to respond here. It is going to be a Hydra den, so Roach Hydra composition to deal with this initially. Yeah, and some more spores going down to help zone out the Phoenix. Phoenix are going to be very effective at lifting and picking off of drones. And Rogue wants to avoid losing any economy at this point if he can help it. I do like the Zergling count here. That's going to be good to help mitigate some of the damage of those Phoenix, and the Queens are going to start getting lifted right now, getting on top of all of these Adepts. So many Adepts actually getting worked away, and he loses all of them. He loses every single Adept. 14 in total. What an engagement by Rogue, playing so patient. But now it's going to have to require a response to these Phoenix. The Phoenix are large in number. Battery overcharge is going to be used in the third base location, and that is going to push those Zerglings off. But the wall is open. These Lings are going to come pouring on in. A battery overcharge is not going to be available just yet, and these probes are going to have to fight for their lives. And Roach is going to go into the third base as well. Rogue is making Patience pay for his insurrection here. 21 workers going down, and that is going to be so much economic damage. It drops Patience to almost half the economic count of Rogue. And that's still so many Phoenix. There's 12 Phoenix here, but this has given Rogue the time to get those Hydras out in force. He's got a good anti-air army coming here. Groove Spine's going to be finishing up here in just a moment, so those Hydras are going to have decent range as well. And there's a pretty sizable Roach count incoming as well to help deal damage to the Adepts. The Adepts are going to try and be the anti-Hydra portion of this army. And now the liftoffs are going to begin. Here come the Roaches to help tank against the Adepts. And the Adepts are going to get all cleaned up. Oh my gosh, this is such a category 5 hold by Rogue. Yeah, Patience is going to tap out. GG is called, and Rogue on the verge of an all kill here to end out regular play. What an amazing game here by both players. Very, very well played. Making this look easy. Not going to lie, making this look easy. We are potentially on our final game of the day. Should just put us on match point for Rogue, looking for the all kill over Beef Rice Stew. I do want to take another opportunity to thank one of our main sponsors here in Manscaped, helping support Alpha X in StarCraft 2 esports. Again, Father's Day just around the corner. Manscaped has a wide variety of products for the man in your life. Feel free to check out their website, manscaped.com, to check out all the different products and services that they offer. If you are interested in making a purchase, 20% off your total can be yours if you use the code Matcherino. And we do appreciate their support. So you purchasing their products tells you that you're saying thank you to Manscaped for supporting Alpha X. So do give them some consideration if you want. Of course, we also have great sponsors in Titan EX1 and G Fuel. We're really excited to bring Titan EX1 on here in the month of June, as they are going to be helping us support our GSL players that will be competing in this season of the GSL. Of course, we have Estrella and Zaun, both of them showing their first ever GSL Code S appearance. So very, very excited for them. And we are going to be jumping into game number 3 here. Can Rogue secure the final win in this best of 5 series? He is spawning in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire. His opponent in the bottom left needs to get a reverse all kill if he wants their team to participate in the playoffs. It is Creator. We have so many great stakeholders and sponsors here supporting not only Alpha X, but just StarCraft 2 in general, which does make the scene very strong. Lots of discussion about how we can keep making the StarCraft 2 scene stronger and more robust here in 2020. And there's a lot of people that are contributing to this. Lots of great teams supporting players and keeping the scene alive. Lots of great pro players showing us great games and great progress as they grow in their career. And lots of great audience members in you supporting all sorts of different content, not only on afreecaTV, but on Twitch TV, on YouTube, all sorts of different media platforms. So thank you so much for all that you are doing to help make esports possible in 2020. And I know that seems a little cliche, but think about it. Think about it this way, Chad. Without an audience, I mean, the sponsors wouldn't want to put up money to host these events. Without the events, there would be nothing for the players to play. If there's nothing for the players to play, we don't have any StarCraft 2 action to cover. And then the casters are just sad. Oh, sad Rushy. But fortunately, I'm glad Rushy, because I get to cover this awesome event. So thanks once again to Alpha X for allowing me the opportunity to cast this game. Thank you to all of you, 207 wonderful StarCraft 2 viewers, for joining me today. And thank you to afreecaTV for allowing Alpha X to cover the English cast of this event, providing us with this awesome clean feed so that way we can get great production value sent your direction. So very, very excited to have that. Creator finally going to switch up this opening here. It is going to be Stargate opener here against Rogue. He does get to be a little bit annoying. Oh, gosh. The pylon going to block that third base. Does throw down a cybernetics core to be just a little bit more annoying. That's going to get canceled. That's not going to be allowed to finish. Oh, and the Adept's going to get here as well. Creator denying Rogue so much time here on that third base. Is going to get a little damage done as well. But it does cost him a lot. Look at how many minerals that cost him to delay that base. 137. Debatable whether or not that was worth it. But we'll have to see. All right, so Rogue going to see that Stargate opening here. Already starting to throw down those spore crawlers, so we'll be able to defend against this initially and create a good position for the defense. Actually doesn't have a spore crawler in the natural, but two queens there will be able to zone that off effectively, especially if it's just one. The second Oracle on the way, I think, he will toss down a Spore Crawler. 2 is just a bit too much without Spore Crawler coverage. And now we're going to have to take a look at that third base location to see if Creator is willing to go out to his third base and make this a macro game. It appears to be that way, but there are 2 gateways incoming along with that robotics facility that could lean to being a little bit more aggressive. Getting on top of those queens as well, providing a little bit of cover. Just going to keep an eye on that mini-map, and it does look like Probe is going to head out. So we are going to see a nice transition into a 3-base macro off of Creator. Dropping down a Twilight Council and a Forge behind this as well. And now we are going to see Rogue get out to his 4th base as well. Now, the 3rd base was rather delayed. So definitely something that we need to keep an eye on as we get into this this game number 3. Rogue looking to secure that final victory, but is going to have to work for it here, as the lair does come up as well, getting 2 hatcheries. Is that third base still not complete? Oh, he's dropping the macro hatch. Okay, it's got a macro hatch in the main, so that's not that scary. Is he he's dropping a second macro hatch. Whoa, okay, Rogue dropping 2 macro hatches behind his 4th base. He's gonna go for a ton of production here. I mean, Rogue's economy is just fine. There's no reason that he needs to drop 2 macro hatches unless he wants to do something specific with it. But it's going to be 2 of these that get him into position for a ton of production. Wow, I'm actually interested to see this. It's going to be 22 lings on the way. Rogue is just going to ling flood. No way. It's just going to be a big ling vein flood. And he is going to show these lings here. Does burn off a little bit of the energy on these sentries, trying to eliminate a little bit of that, because those force fields are going to be so impactful in trying to shut down this push. And Rogue's going to take a 5th base behind this. He's built so many hatcheries. So many hatcheries in the last 2 minutes of the game. Let's see. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries at the 7-minute mark. I think Rogue must be like playing a pig icy far, where we're gonna find out that pig gave him a secret challenge. Like, Rogue, you have to build 1 hatchery for every minute that you're in the game. And Rogue's like, I can do that. I can do that here in game number 3, looking to close out the series against Creator. But yeah, the production is just gonna spike up here for our blue Zerg player. Now, Creator's got to take a look at these lings, and he's got to be going, wait, what's happening here? A burrow incoming as well. And now he's going to get a scout up into the main. He's going to see the 2 macro hatches, and he's got to be going, uh-oh. I'm not sure what's coming at me right now. Dropper Lord's going to be morphed in as well for Rogue. But there's just not a lot of gas. Not a lot of gas income for Rogue. It's just going to be largely Zergling, which could work out well. 21 Banes incoming as well. This could work out well for Rogue. But I mean, Archons are pretty good. Pretty good against Mass Ling. However, Rogue behind this, keeping a sturdy economic lead here. 89. 89. Trying to think of the last time I saw 89 drones against a Protoss. 93 drones. Good Baneling drop. Gonna pick off some buildings. Not gonna really get any workers. Good surround here of the Zerglings. The Guardian Shield goes down, but Guardian Shield only protects against ranged attacks, so not really getting any value there. And now it is gonna be more and more Zergling and Baneling composition as this continues to progress forward. So, yeah, so many lings. So many lings just going to continue swarming here. They're going to get on top of the 4th base expansion. Not going to get a full shutdown on this just yet. Putting down a little bit of damage. That +2 is finished, and it's going to be Psystorm on the way. This is a great call by Creator. Oh, the Banelings are incoming. Oh, but they're engaged all on top of an Archon. That is a terrible engagement here, but this one's going to go a lot better for him, grabbing 18 of 25 workers. Rogue is just everywhere on the map, not going to allow Creator the chance to breathe. If he can get a better engagement on top of these Archons, he's going to be in a lot better spot. But he is on a little bit of a timer here as Psystorm is incoming. Good surround on that Archon. We'll be able to shut that down. The splash damage is not going to be that effective. But look how inefficient Rogue is being here. He's lost double the resources, but Rogue is still able to be on top of this. 182 to 141. He's got almost double the economy. And he absolutely needs it if he's going to trade out ineffectively like this. He is going to get on top of this. Glazerbeam saying that this feels like a flex. It absolutely does. Rogue going, I don't need to build high-tech units against you. I'm just going to beat you with Ling Bane. But Rogue's only going to be able to do this for so long here. Creator's going to be able to get enough out that he's going to be able to start dealing with the largely Zergling composition army. But right now, I mean, he's able to pump out 60 Zerglings at a time. As long as he can keep swarming, he'll be in a good spot here. Lots and lots of Banelings added into this fight. This is going to be a big moment here for Rogue as Creator is starting to come across the map. Warp Prism in the backside of the base. Oh, another big Baneling run by 14 Banes. Burrow finally getting put to use here as the Banelings come crashing on in. Ooh, and they do engage with a bunch of those sentries. The sentries so valuable with their force fields. With those down, these Zerglings will be able to get a great surround on these units. Archons are pretty strong, though. Here comes the full surround here. Everything's going to wrap around. Some good storms do paint down. The Baneling's going to get on top of all of these squishy units, and every single Archon goes down. Baneling's connecting with large chunks of the Zealot force, and Creator's supply plummets. Rogue has done it. Look at how much he has closed that gap. What used to be a 5,000 disparity mineral-wise has closed completely, and Creator just doesn't have anything. He's only got 29 army supply, and these cannons are just not going to be enough. They're just so many Lings literally swarming the map here. Creator's got to be just so frustrated with this. Now he's able to get a little bit of damage across the map, but once again, there's just no response for these Zergling. Battery overcharge is going to be good, but not when you've got 45 different Lings attacking 45 different places. That shield battery is only going to be so effective. Oh, and the supply is just in such a bad place here for Creator. 171 to 91. The economic advantage, the Warp Prism goes down. Creator taps out, and the all kill for Rogue. Oh, Rogue's smiling. Oh, he's loving this. Oh, yep. Sees that goes down and is able to make that happen. So, poor Creator, unfortunately, not able to get that. You can see a little bit of the frustration there. But that is going to do it. Rogue is going to secure the all kill and put himself in position here to secure that second place spot in the bracket. So Beef Rice Stew, unfortunately eliminated from the BJ Destruction League Season 2. That means SSB is going to be able to stay in the bracket at the 4th seed. So hopefully we will get a chance to see a little more information here from our Korean counterparts, getting to see what our playoff bracket scenario is going to look like. Again, if you are interested in seeing more high-level StarCraft 2, in about 30 minutes right here on play.afreecaTV.com, you will see another set of high-quality games. And here it is, the meme song showing Rogue easily taking care of Team Beef Rice Stew with another all-kill scenario. So GG all the way around. And here is the results of today's match. 2 all kills. They finally give Stats that recognition he deserves. 3-1 for Team YRU here, and 3 Zerg, making a quick 3-0 victory over Beef Rice Stew. So here are the standings. It is going to be it's going to be just between our 2nd and 3rd place teams. So unfortunately, SSB actually not making it to the playoffs here. So it is going to be 2nd and 3rd place playing against each other, and the winner is going to move on to face our team of Big Brother Cure. And they did have a bye today. So, very, very interesting stuff here. Yep, it's going to be our best of 7 tomorrow, and that is going to be starting at the same time as our production did today at 19 in Korea. That's a 5 a.m. start in Central Daylight Time in the United States, or North America, excuse me. And if you are from Europe, It is a noon start time. So very, very good setup here. So very interesting, exciting team league. We will have 2 more days worth of productions. And we will be moving on. So our top 3 teams will be walking away with a good chunk of money in our prize pool. Very, very exciting games here. 3 very dominant teams. Team Why Are You Here actually getting off to a little bit of a slow start, and they will be able to fight for a chance to be at the top of our series. But that is going to do it for our production today. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, do consider sticking around. We will be having an Alpha X Pro series. Getting it set up here in just a moment. It is going to be between Star Killer and Psyarch. Excuse me. I took a moment to try and piecemeal that together. That'll be coming up here actually in just about half an hour right here on play.afreecaTV.com/alphaxsc2. So if you're interested in hankering for more StarCraft 2 action, do feel free to check that out. That'll be coming up here very, very soon. But for now, that is going to do it for us. My name is Rushy. I cast here for Alpha X. Very, very happy to be a part of this production. You can go ahead and find me at twitter.com/RushySC. I will also be covering the ESL Pro Tour EU qualifiers later this morning, starting around noon. So you can catch that over at twitch.tv/alpha. No, that one's on my channel, twitch.tv/RushySC, along with all of my ladder content and personal content for StarCraft 2 as well. But for now, we are going to say so long. I hope you get to join us for our playoffs tomorrow right here on afreecaTV. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Although I am waiting, I do need to wait. Make sure I hear the music and work with production here. Our Korean casters do have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I'm pretty sure that we are done, but I'm going to be patient and make sure that I don't accidentally goof up here. What else can I talk about? You guys are awesome. I hope you guys know that. I do want to thank our sponsors, Titan EX1, G Fuel, for supporting our events. Of course, Manscaped as well, making this event possible here in Alpha X. We're so grateful for all of their support. Did I mention you guys are awesome? I mentioned you guys are awesome. Can you tell I'm trying to buy a lot of time here because I'm nervous that their production has not wrapped up as well. I'm usually better about planning this out, but man, we moved really quick there. And yesterday we were like snapping through everything because production was running long. Now today it's a little bit on the short side, and there we go. There's the music. All right. I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks so much for joining us. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for our first set of playoffs. Don't miss it. It'll be more great games brought to you by Alpha X and afreecaTV. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You take